What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Anthony Bruno Show. I am Anthony Bruno. Hockey fans have been waiting for over 2 months. There haven't been any NHL games since March 11th, but on Tuesday, May 26th, Commissioner Gary Bettman outlined the NHL's return to play plan, meaning we are one big step closer to the return to the National Hockey League and a conclusion to the 2019-2020 NHL season. So let's break it down and talk about what it all means. Let's go. First of all, for everyone complaining about the 2014 playoff format and how the teams who barely had a chance to make the playoffs back in March are now going to get an opportunity to compete for the Stanley Cup, suck it up and get over yourself. There was no perfect scenario here. We're in the middle of a global pandemic, and it's going to be amazing just to see NHL hockey again. And guess what? The best teams are still the best teams. So if the Habs, the Blackhawks, or the Coyotes, the teams with the 3 worst records of the 24 remaining clubs, happen to get past the qualifying round and into the final 16, you know what? Good for them, because they're probably not going to last much longer than that. Alright, so here's what we know. The 2019-2020 NHL regular season is now officially complete, so all the stats and the standings are going to stay as is. No return date has been determined yet, but when the NHL does return, the top 12 teams in each conference are going to come back to create a 2014 Stanley Cup Playoffs. And these are going to take place in 2 hub cities. So, the Eastern Conference is going to play in one hub city, while the Western Conference plays in the other hub city. But there's still a lot of logistics that need to be sorted out before this becomes a reality, so we're all really excited, but we also need to be patient. The top 4 teams in each conference are going to compete in a round robin to determine the top 4 seeds. So in the East, it's Boston, Tampa, Washington, and Philly, and then in the West, it's St. Louis, Colorado, Vegas, and Dallas. And I think this format hurts the Boston Bruins more than any other team. The Bruins were rolling along. They had a 6-point lead in the race for the President's Trophy and an 8-point cushion on the Tampa Bay Lightning for the top seed in the East. And Boston had just 12 games remaining, so they probably would have cruised to the finish line as the top seed in the East, and they probably would have been the number 1 overall seed. And along with that, that would have given them home ice advantage throughout the playoffs. But now there's a chance that they might drop down to the 4th seed in the East after playing this round robin, so they're going to have to go out and fight for all these perks all over again. So those top 8 teams are all safely in a playoff spot. As for the remaining 16 teams, they're going to compete in a qualifying round. There's going to be 8 series, all of which will be a best of 5. And what I love so much about this is when the NHL does return, all of these teams are going to be 100% healthy. And that is never the case in the NHL, because the NHL season is always a battle of attrition, and that is going to be completely thrown out the window. So teams like the Leafs and the Penguins and the Blue Jackets and the Avalanche, who were hit so hard by injuries this season, must be rejoicing to the heavens right now. Sure, players are going to be rusty, but these teams are the same from when we last saw them. There haven't been any trades or free agent signings, so we should know what to expect. And there are some very intriguing qualifying round matchups. If I was the Carolina Hurricanes, I would be terrified of the 11th seeded New York Rangers. Mika Zibanejad was playing out of his mind before the season came to a halt. Artemi Panarin was having an MVP caliber season, and their young goalie Igor Shesterkin was playing so damn well. That is a team I would be absolutely horrified to play. They were one of the hottest teams in the league, so that series has upset written all over it. And staying in the East, this Leafs-Blue Jackets matchup is going to be awesome. These teams were hit so hard by injuries this season, so it's going to be amazing to see them compete at full strength. The Leafs are one of the best offensive teams in the NHL, and there's not going to be a lot of pressure on them when they return because they had such a roller coaster season, and people aren't really expecting a lot out of them. But wouldn't it be so Toronto Maple Leafs for them to finally win the Stanley Cup in a season like this? And then when you look at the other side of the Columbus Blue Jackets, they're one of the best defensive teams in the NHL. They're getting their best player back, defenseman Seth Jones, who suffered a significant long-term injury back in February. So he's going to be back to full strength. And this is a Jackets team that shockingly swept the Lightning in the first round of the playoffs last year. So we know what they're made of, and this matchup is going to be straight fire. And then in the Western Conference, the 11th seeded Coyotes can easily take out the number 6 seed Predators, especially with Arizona's amazing goaltending. They got Darcy Kemper and Antti Ranta. And then the all-Canadian 8-9 matchup between the Flames and Jets is going to be unreal. Connor Hellebuyck was having an amazing season for Winnipeg, had a great chance to win the Vezina Trophy, and both teams have game breakers on offense. And it's the only all-Canadian matchup of the qualifying round, so it's going to be nuts. And the Colorado Avalanche must be on cloud 9. They get a bye through the qualifying round since they're the number 2 seed in the West. They lost Nathan MacKinnon to injury right before the NHL season was suspended. Mikko Rantanen and Nazem Kadri were also out with significant injuries. So they're going to get all these guys back. They get their top 2 centers back fully healthy in MacKinnon and Kadri. And then Rantanen, one of the best offensive players in the league. This Avalanche team is going to be an absolute force in the Western Conference playoffs. And there's not going to really be a chance for players to get comfortable and ease their way back into things. And sure, all these teams are going to have training camps, but these teams better be ready to play right off the bat. And the star players, they better show up right from the drop of the puck, especially in these 5-game series. So this is going to make for some incredibly entertaining and unpredictable hockey. And another thing I've been thinking about as I've waited for the NHL to give us more information on their return to play plan is what happens to the following season, because the further along we go into the summer, that's going to compromise the start to next season. But Gary Bettman said that the NHL is prepared to start the following season in November or December, and he even gave the possibility of having opening day be the Winter Classic, which has historically been January 1st, New Year's Day. So that tells us that the NHL is willing to finish this season, play it throughout the summer and into the late fall, and then start next season in the winter potentially. So it looks like at the end of the day, everything is going to work out okay. But here's the thing, as great as all of this is, there is no guarantee whatsoever that the NHL is going to return to complete the 2019-2020 season. At the end of the day, we're still in the middle of a global pandemic, and things can go wrong. So the NHL, along with the other big 4 North American sports leagues, need to get the go-ahead from health professionals and the government if these leagues are going to return. But I sure as hell hope for hockey fans everywhere that the NHL gets the go-ahead to return to action and eventually award the Stanley Cup. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed my thoughts and opinions on the NHL's return to play plan. Let me know what you think about the plan and who you think is going to win the Stanley Cup, and you can do that in the comments below. And as always, I would really appreciate it if you like the video, share it on social media, and subscribe to my channel, especially if you're a sports fan and want to see more content like this. That does it for this video, so I will see you guys next time.